guys, forgive the change in camera. I left and brought the arm to film from above, but not the one to turn the camera straight. So we're going to have to rely on my cell phone because I don't want to delay these as far as getting them up. But here is Mr. Tigger. His tummy thing is sewn on. I kind of have him sitting at an angle. There are his ears, and got him stuffed crooked. There we go. His nose, his beady little eyes. And only thing I can say about this pattern that I'm not crazy about, that neck, even though I stuffed it and restuffed it, is just not quite as stiff as I would like. But I guess that's why his snout is made like it is, because it does help hold it up. And I did go in and tack his tail down because it was just irritating me. So that is it. That is the finished Tigger. I am going to actually put this at the beginning of the videos. So forgive me for not turning it around and showing my face. It's irritating me. There we go. But as always, there are a few disclaimers. One, Tigger is not my creation. This pattern is not my creation. Tigger belongs, I'm sure, to Disney, probably by now. And then, of course, the pattern book is a leisure arts pattern. So as a result, as always, I cannot give you the pattern. I have a lot of people contact me and ask, and I just cannot do it. It's not mine to give. I have been told that it's free online. I don't know if it is or isn't. I don't have a copy that's been like downloaded, so I can't help with that. The other thing is I am not a professional crocheter. This is just my interpretation of it. And because of those two facts combined, I have not, let me see, how can I put this as a disclaimer? I have not shown everything that there is to be shown on each, round or row. And I have also not made any effort to go back, and if I've misspoken or anything like that and didn't catch it at the time, I've not made any effort to go back and correct things like that. So this is truly just me taking you along as I crocheted, and hopes that it will help you. Is there anything else I did differently? I think that's everything. I did find the ears a little frustrating to sew on, but that is what it is. So this is, sorry about the shadow, but it's the end of the day and I have finished and I want to get these videos edited. This is Tigger, and that's what he should look like. And they've got theirs, sorry about the getting closer, sitting up a little better than I do, but you can see his face better that way. So guys, this is going to go in front of every one of the videos and at the end of the last one. So somewhere around, I don't know, hopefully the end of this week, beginning of next week, which should be like the 3rd or 4th week of February. I'm drawing a blank right now. I'll be getting these videos up for you. So thanks for watching, and thanks for tagging along for this. If you like these kind of videos, I'd love it if you'd subscribe and click the like button. It just lets me know, have a better idea of what kind of content to do. And the other thing would be, if you have a request or a suggestion for something else that I should do a crochet or knit along for, please let me know in the comments, or come find me over on Facebook. I'm over there at Home with Shara C. And I'm on Instagram, but honestly, very rarely. I just don't check it a lot. So thanks again, and let me stop rambling and get this going. Hey guys, it's Shara. I'm back with my talking hands. You're going to notice a little different setup here. I am at our home away from home and still plugging away at Tigger. So far we have his snout. I don't remember even what they're calling it, but his snout, our ears, the 2 arms. I did not record making the tail. It's just very simple, straightforward. I think you'll be able to figure it out. If anyone has a problem, let me know. But it's basically the same concept. The stripes made the same way as on the arms, the works, but it's just kind of small and fiddly, and I had a hard time getting a good shot, you know, with just 10 and 12 single crochets in the round, because this is making a little tube. So there's that. And then today we are making his foot and leg. So what I've decided to do is to work up through the end of the first stripe on camera. And then at that point, you're simply working even. You're following your pattern to work your second stripe. The stitch count is different, but the concept is going to be the same as this first one. And then you'll work one round even, and you're going to increase following your directions. And your increases are here, and it kind of gives a little hip joint almost type, but on the front of his leg. So this is the plan today to get us through the leg. I did make a change from what I was doing on the stripe from the arms. I'm making them the same way, but I am securing the strands a little differently because turning the arms wrong side out and securing those ends was just a pain in my tush. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I don't know if it's proper or not, but as I've said in all these videos, I am not a professional. This is just my interpretation. And I'm sure I'll put something at the beginning of all these to show that, but just in case, this is the Disney Home Pooh Little Buddies. It's a Leisure Arts booklet. These are made with thread. Should only be 5 to 7 inches tall. Of course, I'm using worsted weight yarn and a much larger hook. And this Tigger is the last of the 4 patterns in it. So, big thing to remember, as always, I cannot give you the pattern. It's not mine. I cannot show every round, and I've noticed that that's very frustrating to some of you, and I apologize, but I feel like that would be the equivalent of giving out the pattern. So, we're going to start with leg 2, and I'm just going to show you real quick on this guy how we're working. First, we're going to work in this almost what I'd call a U shape, horseshoe shape for his foot. Then we will decrease along the back, and as we come around, we're going to decrease to give the toe, and we're going to work our way up. So the plan is to, like I said, at least get us through round 15, 16 on this, and then you'll be able to finish it on your own using what I've shown you combined with the pattern that you have. So let's get started. I tried to be smart and get everything other. I'm going to see if I can zoom you in on my hands in just a moment. I always feel like this is an awkward position, but I just don't know. So bear with me if I zoom the wrong direction because I'm trying to do this backwards. Let me see. Let's try that. Okay, so obviously Tigger needs 2 legs. I'll try to remember to stick a picture of my cat that's named Tigger. He turned his back on me when I said Tigger, like, oh, I'm resting, leave me alone. So with orange, chain 12. Okay, now just like with the Pooh and all those things, we're going to single crochet in the back ridge of the second chain from the hook and in each chain across, which basically means your chain across is the part that you're not used to seeing the top that kind of looks like the little, I guess, V stitches for lack of a better word. And the ridge on the back, let's see if I can get that close enough that you can see it, is actually when you flip it over these little humps that are like, they're like ridges really. So we're going to have to start with, we're just going to do along the ridge. Oh, gosh, guys, I'm saying that backwards. All right, let me start over with this section. We have chained our 12 and we're single crocheting down the ridge, and of course you always skip the first one, so we're going to have 11 stitches. I hope that the light's good enough. It's kind of a dreary day today, but else, you know, I can't. If I wait around for perfection, this video is just not going to happen, and a lot of you are asking for it. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess I shortchanged myself a stitch. Let's go back and start over. These videos just, they take a while to do. One, I have to be careful and try to stay on camera as best I can. And two, having to think about and say what I'm doing is a little more work. Let me double check that. Is a little more work, and then there's of course the editing and trying to pull together the videos, and I've had a couple end up like corrupted or off, and I've had to redo pieces, so it just takes me a while, but I do appreciate your patience on it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Random side note, I did have the surgery on the first eye. I can't tell yet if there's any major improvement in it or not, and he said it'll be a couple of weeks before he can test it to see, so I'm kind of having to do a little and rest my eyes a little, but not too bad. Okay, so that just gives us our 11 single crochets that we've worked down. Now we're going to chain 1 and turn, single crochet in the first 10, you are working through both loops on these. Okay, so that's 10. In the very last single crochet, we're going to work 3 single crochets. And then we're going to flip around to the side and work back down this side. So remember, we're kind of working in our U shape now. The 3 turned our in and will come down the opposite side. And where you worked in the ridges, it has left what looks like chains here for you to just go right on in. And so skip the first chain and single crochet in the next and the last 9, so we're going to have 10. I find it easiest to start at the opposite end and count over 10 to make sure I'm in the right place, because it's just frustrating to me to pull things out. So 1, 3, and your toe does want to curl a little bit, but it actually smooths out as we go along. 2, It's really quiet in here today. My husband is in his office working, and all I can hear is like the ticking of the clock. So I'm like, oh, I'm used to crocheting and knitting with an audiobook going, or sometime a YouTube channel or something. So that gives us a total of 23. If you're in doubt, there is no shame in stopping and counting. It's far better to me to stop and count than it is to have to pull out and figure out where I went wrong. So now row 2, we're going to chain 1, and we're working back around the U. Single crochet in the first 10. Okay, that's 10. Now we're going to do 2 single crochet in the next single crochet. So 1, 2, 3 single crochet in the next one, which is the very tip of your toe. And then round the curve and 2 single crochet in the next one. And we should have 11 stitches left to single crochet in, so we'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I am off one. Let me see what I missed. I skipped a stitch somewhere. Hold on. Let me back up. Yeah, there's the one I skipped. Let me double check. 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I skipped a stitch. When I was close there, I skipped a stitch. Let's see. 1, 2, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. There we go. Now, row 4, they're calling it rows, not rounds. We're going to do the same thing, continuing to increase as they said, and we will do the same thing for row 5. So I'm not going to walk you through those. You have the pattern. I'm just going to crochet. Maybe chatter while I do. Winnie. $31. Oh, I want to show you guys, you probably, if you're a long-term crocheter, already know this, but I have a tendency when things are rounds, rows, whatever they call them, are very similar, to try to like accidentally jump down to a further row. So a good tip is to take a sticky note and then just move it down. Like I just finished row 4, so now I'm going to move it down to below row 5, but it keeps me from jumping below. So row 5 is just continuing to increase around that toe. I need to pick up the correct string though here. Chain 1 and turn. Six. So there's my 12. $16. 19. Whoops. Okay, that is the end of row 5, and this is the shape that we're going to end up with. It's pretty easy to recognize it as a foot. This is going to be the back, and this is going to be the toe. So at this point, we're actually going to begin working in rounds. So round 1 is where we're going to work back around just like we did and then decrease along the end. So while I'm at it, let me go ahead and get a string marker for my end so that I'll be able to keep track of it where you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So round 1, we actually, until we get to back to the opposite corner, are going to work exactly the way we've been doing, increasing in the toe. So single crochet in the first 13. Now work your increases as directed. Work even across the end. Increase again. Okay, now when we get to this end in the previous rows, we've been chaining and turning, but we're not going to do that now. Oh, excuse me, I do have to answer this. Sorry about that. I am on phone duty today, so I just have to answer it when it rings. At the risk of repeating myself, because I don't remember what the last thing I said was, we have just finished working down to the side like we had been doing on the rows, but because this is the round, we are not going to turn. We're now going to work across this flat end. And it says to skip the last single crochet made, which means do not go in this stitch that we just did a single crochet in. We're going to decrease twice, and we're working in the ends of our rows here. So that's 1, 2. Then we're skipping the center row, which was our chain, and we're doing our, let me get in the right spot. Next decrease, that's 1, and then doing this decrease, which is 2. We're going to join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet, but first I recommend just counting your stitches at this point before you get too far, because as we go along now, we are going to be doing some decreasing, and it's nice to know you're starting with the right count number. So it says we should have 43. And I have 43. So you're joining with the slip stitch back in the original first single crochet here. And you're going to move your paper down where you can see the next round. Chain 1. And we're going to single crochet around and place a marker here. Now I personally, because I've just joined and did the chain 1, I'm going to count when I crochet this round and make sure that I'm in 43, have 43 when I finish. See if I can get you a little closer to what I'm doing. Let's try that. Forgot when I turned off the camera that I had to redo that. Let me put this in my lap so I can manipulate it a little better. Now that is my 43, which is correct because there's where I joined everything. So at this point, you're going to want to put a marker in this final stitch to let you know that this is the end point. Now, I learned to do this with knitting. You can use all kinds of markers, but I like to take a relatively, you see it's a relatively long piece here. I don't know, I'm no good at maybe 12 inches, maybe a little less of yarn. It's contrast, and I don't like to have to stop and like move a marker every time, so I prefer to do this over the the little clip things that you slide through. So I hold one end tight and just pull the longest part outside of my work like this. And can you see that? You can. I'm going to move the camera, sorry. Out like this. And leave this hanging and leave that hanging. And then when we come back around to the end of the next round, I will show you why I did that. So that was round 2. Now rounds 3, 4, and 5, we're just working even. So I'm going to do one of those talking, or to show you what I'm going to do here at the end. But other than that, it's just crocheting evenly around. 42. Okay, I'm getting ready to do stitch 43. I do not take my marker out. I hold it down and go ahead and go do my 43rd stitch. Then I take my hook out and I come from the back into that next stitch and I pull my yarn through, but I make sure that I'm holding that tail, the short tail on the inside. And you end up with something that looks kind of like a running stitch here, and each time you'll be able to work this tail back and forth, and it'll keep your beginning stitches marked. 1, so if you have to pull out a row, but 2, it's just more convenient and faster to not have to stop and pull out. And when you start running out of string or you have to move it or something changes, it just slides right out. So that was round 3. We do have rounds 4 and 5 to go, and I'm just going to go ahead and crochet them. I'll try to remember to speed up through this, but I'm trying to simplify the editing process on these to get them faster. So we'll see if I do or don't. But if you're crocheting along, this is the perfect time to just keep crocheting. Be back in a minute, guys. When I said I was on phone duty, I wasn't kidding. Okay, so I am on round 4 now. Let me see if I can zoom this in some. Yeah, there we go. So you'll find this amusing. I had on these bright colored pants, and I realized that they clashed really horribly with this yarn. You're trying to see stitches, so I did change into something else that was a little more neutral. The weather here has been crazy. We had, 70-degree days, beautiful weather, like short sleeves, open up the house, the works. Then now today it dropped back down to, I think the high is like 20, 21 degrees less than the high yesterday. So it's kind of cooled off. Okay. Now I am back around to where my little stitch marker is. So I'm going to again pick up the long tail, take my hook out, and come around, this time from the front, and pull it through. And that just marks my thing. So I have to do round 5. so I'm back to my marker. I'm going to pull the thread through again to mark it. Just be careful not pull so much that you pull your little end from the inside out. Okay, now round 6. This is where we're going to begin what's called our front loop decreases. And it's the 2 single crochet decrease for round 15. We're working our decreases. Our foot's looking something kind of like a boat with the U curved part here, and the back right now is in my right hand. Our decreases are actually going to kind of fall along the U part each time. So for round 6, 7, 6 and 7, we're going to be working the 2 single crochet decreases following their counts. I stop and count at the end of each of these just because it's very frustrating if you are off and you don't realize until rounds later. And then on round 8, we will do some of the 2 single crochet decreases as well as a 3 single crochet, and the same thing applies to round 9. So let's get started here. Single crochet in the first 15. To me. Every time I get up to mess with the phone, I lose what I'm doing here. Okay, now I'm going to verbally tell you how to do the front loop 2 single crochet decrease, and then I'm also going to show you. So basically what we're going to do is the loop of these V stitches, the chain that you would see, the loop that's closest to you is just called the front. That makes sense, right? And we're going to go into the next 2 stitches pulling through only 1 loop until we have 3 on our hook. So it looks like this. You start with 1, you go in the next single crochet only in the front loop and pull 1 through. That gives you 2. Then you go into the next one only in the front loop and pull 1 through. That gives you 3 loops on your hook. You wrap it and pull it through, and that counts as 1 stitch. So it tells us to do that 6 times. So that was 1, 6, and you can see it already starts to pull in the toe, so we're kind of going up from the bottom of the foot and over the top now, making like the toe of it. And then going back to working in both loops, that's important. Single crochet in your last 16. So I'm in my 16th, and I'm going to, and it worked out where I came right back to where my marker was, so that lets me know I'm pretty sure my count's correct on that one. Pull it through again just to mark the end of the round. So on the next one, which is round 7, we're going to follow through the pattern as it says, and we're still going to be working the decreases. So we'll single crochet in the first 13. Bag this up a little bit and see if it's a little brighter if I'm a little further away. Try that. I think it is. Okay, now we are to work our same 2 single crochet decrease 5 times. I'm going to show you one more time how to do it just in case. So you have 1 loop on, you go in the front loop of the next chain and pull in 1, or actually it's the next single crochet, but pull in 1 through the front loop only. Go to the next stitch, pull through 1 loop, front loop only, so you have 3, and work through it. And we're going to repeat that 4 more times, so 5 total. And then remember working in both loops to finish off the next 14. Back to my marker. Once again, I'm just going to pull the long end of that strand through and keep going. Okay, so round 8 and 9 are exactly the same, except you're going to do a 3 single crochet decrease. I will show you when we get to that how it is, but I mean it's literally going to be what you think it is based on the 2 single, but still, just in case you've never done one before. So I just did my 10, work the front loop, two single crochet first, do that decrease twice. That's the same one we've been doing. So there's 1 and here's 2. The next stitch it says to do is the 3 single crochet, which basically means we're going to go in the front of 1 and pull through, in the front of 2 and pull through, and in the front of 3 and pull through. So we'll have 4 loops on our hook, and then we're going to pull through. That is the very tippy of the toe, and then you have to I have to kind of squish it in at this point because I want my stitches to pull together snugly. It helps keep gaps away. That's kind of up to you if you know a better way to do it. And then we do our 2 single crochet decrease twice again, and then you can see it's making our toe here, pulling it in tighter there. It makes me think of baby booties, honestly. And then single crochet in both loops of the next 11. Okay, and then we're going to repeat that same thing following the directions on round 9. You will have a 2 single crochet decrease, a 3 single crochet decrease, and then a 2 single crochet in the toe. I'm just going to go ahead and work through it without like counting and chattering to you. Now on the end of this round, we're going to single crochet in 9, and then you need to remember to do the 2 single crochet in the last stitch. If you'd like to stop and count at this point, you should have 23 stitches. I am going to pull my yarn tail again that's marking my round right on through. Okay, now my pattern book, as I've said, is the thread pattern book. If you're making this with thread or you're using tiny yarn and tiny hooks, you really might want to consider starting to stuff now, but as you can see from the sample, the first leg that I did, this is plenty big. I can actually stuff it as I'm working on the body and things, because I don't really like to have stuffed pieces laying around. So I'm not stuffing, but you know, your Tigger, you do what you want to do. Okay, round 10 is simply an increase round. Rounds 11 through 14 are worked evenly, and then round 15 is when we will begin our stripe. So I'm just going to turn the camera off. I'm going to do round 10, which is just increasing following where they say to increase. Then 11, 12, 13, and 14, I'll do those rounds even, and I will bring you back on round 15. Okay, so I just finished round 14. Now round 15 is where we're going to do the first Tigger stripe. And this is a technique that I know as short rowing. I don't know if there are other like names for it. There may be. I just know it as short rowing. So we're going to single crochet in the first 8, but remember on your 8th stitch to switch to your brown. So we're actually going to do 7. 6, 7. Now for this next single crochet, you work till you have your 2 loops on there. Then you pick up your brown and leave a decent tail, because you're going to stuff it on the inside anyway, and it also helps you if you ever have anything come loose, you have something to work with. So I'm leaving a decent tail here. Now, as I said before, on the arms, I left the tails like that and flipped them wrong side out and sewed them in, did all that stuff to finish it off. I am not doing that on this. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I'm taking this brown, because we are going to be working over the orange anyway, and I am using it, the string that is still attached to my skein, I am tying it in a knot with this brown, and I'm just overhand, I guess, I don't even know what the knot's called, just a regular old knot, twice, so that that is secured. And since I'm crocheting over this orange anyway, as I go on around, I feel like that secures this end good. And then when I get to the other end after my short rowing in the brown, I'm going to do the same thing on that side. So I'm going to end up with 2 knots, but it's not a garment. They're inside the animal, so I think it's going to be fine. Okay, now we've done our 8. I've changed over from the orange to the brown. Remember to lay your orange string kind of along the top here. You're going to be working over it because we want it on the opposite side here when we finish with the brown. So slip stitch in the next stitch. Single crochet in 10, remembering to work over this orange. 1, 2, 3, and I'm trying not to pull the orange too tight, but just kind of let it lie over the top. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then slip stitch in that one. Now we're just going to let our orange dangle, and we're going to work back this direction across the brown. So we're not going to chain, we're going to turn, do a slip stitch in that first slip stitch. And I find when I get the 2 on there like that, it's just easier for me to use my fingers to pull that first loop over and snug that stitch down. Now single crochet in our 10. Again, we're still working over the brown again. Okay, and I'm back to the end. Oh, sorry about the noise. We have an Amber Alert going off. It's 8, 9, 10 hours away from me, so there's not much I can do. But I'm glad that the system is in place. So slip stitch, anyway, sorry. It's the day for the phone. We just did our 10 single crochets back across the brown. Now we're going to slip stitch in that last one again. And again, we're going to work back, turning our work, but not chaining. Slip stitch in the slip stitch we just did, which is a little awkward, and as I said a while ago, it's just easier to pull that stitch over, I feel like that. Go back across to our 10. Five, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we're back to our slip stitch. I actually drop my brown down and pick up the orange. Let your brown just fall to the back for now. And in that slip stitch, pull through that orange and finish off that stitch. Okay, I'm going to lay my work here for just a second. I cut a decent sized tail on this brown that I'm going to stuff inside. Move my brown out of the way so we can see what I'm doing. And I pull that loop a little larger, but again, just to make sure that I snug that brown down good. Then I pull my loop back down. I'm hoping you can see because it's so hard with these darker colors. I'm just going to tie this brown in a knot twice around my orange that is still attached to the skein. So it secures the brown is all. The orange is already secured. And that was our short rows. We're back to where we originally dropped our brown. And our orange says 2 single crochet in the next 7. So let's see. And I believe that's going to take us back to our marker. So, whoops. Word of advice, because we worked couple of rows here, back and forth short rowing, I have to kind of pull this stitch tight, that first single crochet, just to make sure I don't end up with a gap there. So just be cautious of that. It will show when you're stuffing your leg if you don't. Five, 6, 7. Okay, I'm back to my marker spot, so that lets me know I'm in the right place. Now round 16 says to not turn, to just single crochet in each single crochet around. Just remember when you're doing this that you're going to have 27 single crochets at the end. So remember that you have your slip stitch here and then your first single crochet. You have to do a single crochet in the slip stitch on both ends of the brown. So when you get back to your marker, make sure you have 27 stitches. If you don't, odds are you missed the slip stitch. So really there's going to be a single crochet here, 10 single crochets over it, and then a single crochet in the slip stitch. Now at this point, rounds 17 through 28 are pretty much, well, let's see, 17 through 21 are worked even. Round 22 is a repetition of the brown stripe we just did, so I'm not going to show you that. The numbers are slightly different, but you've got the how-to now, so you've got your pattern, so you know how to do it. Then round 23 is even, and then in rounds 24, 25, and 26, you will be increasing. It's a very easy count. Just continue to run your marker up the back so that you make sure you're winding up where you're supposed to be. Now on round 28, which is the last one, it's going to have you move your marker. I actually went in and used a separate marker on the other leg just to be safe in case I got off on my count. And this marker is for stitch placement. So here's what your finished leg is going to look like from the side, kind of from the top. Let me zoom out some. Whoops, wrong way. And we've just made it to here. This round is even all the way to here. You're going to repeat your stripe. The increases that you're doing, just so you'll know, are going to be on the top of the leg here, and it's kind of like, I'm going to call it a hip joint, but on the front, if that makes any sense, but it kind of gives his leg where it's connected some shape. And that is it for the legs. I'm going to end this video here so it won't be too long. And we are actually making progress, guys. We have, let's see, made it through his ears, his face, jaw, muzzle, eye area, eye stripes, face border. Oh, I don't remember if I said nose or not, but nose. We've made 2 arms. We've got a tail made. And when you finish this, we'll have both of our legs made. We'll be repeating the same thing twice. So that's going to leave, let me look and see, the tummy pad, which is honestly literally straight rows of single crochets with some counting. So I don't think I'm going to film that. I don't see any reason. It's very straightforward. You literally are going to crochet back and forth. There's a few rows of increase at the beginning. The bulk of it's worked even, and then a few rows of decrease at the end to give it shaping. So when I finish this leg, it looks like, we will be to the point where we will start on the body. Now, I'm honestly expecting that body to be long video because there's a lot of joining to be done with various things. And I don't know how many that's going to have to be broken down into and how many, days that'll take me to get done. And then we will do a finishing video, which will show, the general quick how I put them together. And the last thing will be, hopefully, to show a finished Eeyore. So progress is being made, folks. If you've hung around this long, thanks for watching. I will be back with the next part of the video as soon as I can. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. I will do my best to answer. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to, and it also, honestly, where I can't show the whole pattern, it makes it a little harder. And that's it for today. I'll be back soon. See you later. Bye.